So the next question is about audience engagement, and I'm kind of curious if you work with feedback or who your audience is. I guess is it your clients or your clients' customers? Is feedback on your radar?
Oh God, yes, yeah. Every even for the long-standing, um, depending on how busy we are, but generally we try and do it at the very least once a year. We will either do it these days by Zoom or by email, but we ask a bunch of questions about what we're doing right, what we're doing wrong, what could we do better at.
Okay.
Um, and but then
Have you
we've
always
got,
done that?
yeah, more or less, yeah. We've always just gone back and said, what are we doing? And actually, a lot of clients are shocked. They go, well, why? But we'd complain if you did. I said, no, but we need
Not
to improve. We
necessarily.
need to be
Yeah.
continually improving. And are we hitting the right? But and often that prompts, which is interesting, the client saying to us, is there anything we can do better to make your life a bit easier? And I go, well, a 3-line brief is not great. Is and that this seems to have gone, keep going off on tangents. But the old-fashioned thing of being able to, particularly if you're working with an agency, so you've got a client, they've employed an agency, a brand agency, or a whatever, advertising agents, whatever it is, and then the agency have come to us, or the client has come to us and said, you're working with this agency. Um, there is never a moment, and this seems to be less and less now. None of us seem to get around a table.
Hmm.
Do you know what I mean? There's no representatives from us, from the client, from the agency, from the CGI company, or whatever it is, to actually sit around and go, what are we all trying to achieve here? What boxes are we needing to tick? And are we all on the same page of it? There's this sort of silo mentality, which I loathe. It drives me up the wall. And it often has a massive impact on budget,
Yeah.
timings mainly, because suddenly we're all going trundling down there, and the agent, so it's an. I mean, we do work with a lot of agencies. We work with a lot of direct clients, but it's still the same thing. Nobody ever wants to sit around and go, "Can we have
Was
just have?"
is that a post-pandemic thing?
Yeah, a little bit. It sort of started before the pandemic, but that
Okay.
definitely strengthened that sort of resolve of let's just do it all on Zoom. And
Yeah.
and I've now, or team, whatever it is, and I've now stopped doing it. Going, I'm not having a creative sit down with a bunch with people on screen where I don't know who's talking because there's a white line that's going all
It's
over the
just the
place.
dynamic doesn't work, does it?
It just doesn't,
No.
and then somebody's video goes off, their camera goes off. You go, you're right. I can see you looking at your phone. I can see you writing
Yeah.
emails. You're not listening to what we're saying. Um, and I now record them all. Um,
Right.
which some people get really upset. What do you mean you're recording it? I said, well, no, just for reference.
Yeah.
As I'm actually dressed like somebody in a call center, I do my headset. Look, everybody else has got so much trendy stuff, and I've got this old crappy bit from an online sales.
If it works, it
Um,
works.
it works, sort of. So that that's a shame, and I think that's something that has to. And we push and push and push to do it
Mm.
because you know yourself. You don't. If there are 6 of you around a table talking about a project, those side conversations that happen
Yeah.
with about, do you remember when we did and you did that, and oh yeah, well actually that could work. Those just don't happen.
And they're
Or
the gold, aren't
looks,
they?
yeah, or looks
Mm.
between people where you go, where you've already had a separate conversation. Somebody brings up something and you see them across the other side of the table, and you do that. That's what you talk. That then springboards everything into place. So it's great technology, and it saves me schlepping all over the country to go and see clients because it's great doing it on Zoom. But anything creative, forget it. We don't do it anymore, and
I think
put our
that
foot down.
the issue with Zoom is that only one person can talk at a time.
Yeah,
And I know people might listen to that and go, well, it's obviously rude to not talk over. But when you're in a room of 6, 7 people, someone across the room might say something, and actually, in its own way, it's not a great idea. But then something you might be thinking, go, well, if I add this to it, then actually it works.
yeah,
But if someone over there on Zoom starts talking, they talk for 5 minutes. Those magic moments kind of get lost, don't they? And
yeah. They do. Yeah,
yeah,
it's still that human interaction that you need, and
mm,
and Yeah, I know people are busy, and they've always got meetings to go to, and time is the killer. It always is, even when you're on shoots. Everything is time is the nightmare. Um, um, that's the bit that sits in a corner with a big hood on and a scythe, going.